Hi everybody, my name is Kristen. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today I'm guiding you through yin yoga for cyclists. So this is a perfect practice if you jog, if you cycle, if you hike, or if you're getting out there and getting any physical activity in. It's also a great practice if you're sitting at a desk all day and you find a lot of stiffness through the legs and hips. So we'll get started today just by taking a couple of minutes to ground and root before our practice. So you can bring your palms down to your thighs, close your eyes, and let's take a breath in and draw the shoulders up towards our ears, inhaling here. And exhaling, relaxing the shoulders back and down. And one more time, inhaling the shoulders up to your ears. And exhaling, relax the shoulders back and down. Taking a moment to ground into your breath. Bringing some mindfulness and presence to your practice. And from this space of feeling grounded and centered, we'll move into our first stretch, coming into toe breaker pose. We'll tuck our toes underneath us and drop our hips down towards our heels, resting our palms onto our thighs and feeling the tissue bundle right at the center of the feet, the soles of the feet. And taking a few breaths here. This can feel quite intense. So if it feels overwhelming, just lean forward slightly and bring your fingertips to the floor, taking a little bit of weight off of the heels. And we'll only hold here for about a minute. So try to really breathe into the center of your chest, opening up all the tight spaces through the soles of the feet and into the toes, opening up the channels of energy that start at the feet. And if you'd like, you can reach your palms up, interlace your fingers, and take a stretch through the arm lines. Staying rooted down as you extend upwards through your palms, and keep breathing. Probably feel a little bit of stiffness through the ankles and the shin bones. And just keep breathing for another 6 breaths. And relaxing your palms now back down to the thighs. One more big full breath in. As you exhale, lean forward, release the toes, and tap the toes to the ground. It's getting the energy moving. And then we'll come down to the tops of our feet and rest the hips to the heels so that you're feeling a stretch through the tops of your ankles and up through the shin bones. And take a few breaths here. And then lean back, bringing your fingertips behind your hips. Maybe you can bring your palms flat to the floor. Keep your navel center engaged. And if it feels okay for your knees, you can lift the knees up off of the ground, bringing a deeper compression to the tops of the feet and ankles. If this doesn't feel good, just bring your knees back to the ground. Taking a couple of breaths. And then let's lift all the way back up, leaning forward, tucking your toes underneath you, and we'll take a few breaths in downward facing dog, stretching out through the backs of the legs and pedaling one heel up and then the other. Feeling the muscles through the legs starting to lengthen. And now we're stepping our left foot forward between the palms and slightly off to the side to the edge of the mat. You can heel toe your foot to the edge of the mat and turning your toes slightly towards the corner of the mat. Keep your knee stacked on top of the ankle and take a breath, drawing the heart forward. Your back knee should feel supported here, so you can add a rolled blanket or a cushion under the back knee so that you can really begin to soften through the leg muscles. Untuck your back toe and feel the calf muscle relax. And breathing into the right hip flexor, the top of the hip. And feeling the pelvic bowl drop. Loosening up the hip joint on the left and in through the groin and the inner thigh. And keeping the length and space through the spine, we'll take our left palm up to our thigh, sliding the palm back and gently rotating through the rib cage. Broaden through the collarbone, taking a few breaths here in a twist. Allowing the bones of the body to drop to the earth. Extending your left palm up, taking a few breaths. Unwinding all the way back to center. Taking a breath or two here. And keeping your left knee rooted over the left ankle, we'll walk our palms now over towards the right, creating a C shape through the spine and opening up through the sideline of the body. Simple breath through the chest. If you can come down to your forearms, you can try to melt a little bit deeper into this posture. If that's too intense, stay up on the palms or bring an extra bolster underneath the forearms. And as you sink into the still point of the posture, take another breath or two. Drawing back up to your palms, bringing the chest back to center. Tucking your back toes, slide your knee forward a few inches, and then we'll take the left leg around behind us, tucking your toes and pressing up and back into downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. If you need child's pose, come into child's pose and rest for a few breaths. And we'll move to the opposite side, taking our right foot forward and off to the edge of the mat. Right palm to the inner leg line and your back knee supported. Untucking your back toes, resting through the calf muscle, keeping the heart open and broad and your eyes slightly forward. And sensing into the tissue through the pelvic bowl, beginning to unwind. Allowing your body to become heavy. As you start to feel a softening through the tissue, you can move into the next variation of dragon pose, into our twisted dragon, bringing the right palm to the thigh, keeping the heart broad and open and the breath natural. Top palm extending up. Unwinding back to center for a breath or two. And beginning to walk your palms now over to the left, keeping the right knee on top of the ankle. Opening into the side of the body. And if you feel a sense of melting into this shape, you can always lower to your forearms or add some extra prop if you need to back off a little bit. A few more breaths. And then bringing your palms back to center. Tucking your back toes, sliding the knee forward. And this time, let's come back into child's pose. Widen through your knees, drop back through the hips. Feeling more circulation and flow through the legs and hips. And then we'll roll all the way up, shifting over to one hip and bringing our legs in front of us. Widen through the sits bones and add any extra support under your sits bones you might need. And just for a few breaths, we'll come into butterfly pose. And we'll take more of a muscular stretch here. So draw the soles of your feet together and hug your heels a little bit closer to the groin. Lengthen up along the spine and soften down through the hip creases. And we'll fold forward, keeping a long spine, heart broad and open, eyes to the top of the mat. And you can interlace your fingers in front of your toes and breathe here. Taking 6 deep and full breaths down into the pelvic bowl, into the sacrum, hip joints, and the inner groin. Feeling a sense of decompression through the lower vertebrae of the spine. A couple more breaths. Inhaling, lifting up through the heart, and take your knees in towards each other. And we'll extend both legs in front of us. And taking a breath. And we'll get a little bit deeper now into the hamstrings, softening through the back of the leg line. So let's bend through our left knee and we'll place the foot over to the outer side of the right thigh. And we're coming into half shoelace pose. We're dropping the left knee on top of the right knee. And you should feel a little bit of stretch and opening through the glute and the outer hip on the left side, as well as a stronger compression down through the hamstrings on the right side. So if this feels a little intense, you can always add some propping underneath your knee, or you can modify. You can just take the sole of the foot to the outer thigh and let that knee wing open. Adding any support you need for your forehead, taking a breath here, and slowly folding forward. You shouldn't feel any tension on either knee. So if you do feel some tension through the right knee, you can always add a tiny little prop underneath the knee, like a rolled blanket or a cushion. And sometimes I just slide my palms underneath the knee as well. And we'll hold here for a little bit longer, becoming passive through the body, softening the muscles and feeling the weight of the bones dropping to the earth. You can let your head drop forward, adding cushions or props under your forehead if you need more support to relax. Feeling the tissue through the leg line beginning to soften and hydrate. And let's slowly roll all the way up. Take a big breath as you come up. Walk your palms behind you. You can release your left leg. Lifting gently through the back of the heart. Open up across the collarbone. Look up and take a few big breaths here. And drawing your shoulders back to center, you might feel a bit of a sense of circulation or flow down through the right side of the body. And we'll move into the opposite side now. So we'll bend through the right knee, crossing the foot to the outer thigh and stacking knee on top of knee. Remember that you can add cushions underneath the knee or take the modification. Sits bones even on your mat. And folding forward as you're ready. You might adjust and add some extra support between the knees or underneath the bottom knee. Allowing your shoulders to melt and drop forward and your head to relax. Taking your final breath or two, whole body melts into this posture, and then take your time to roll up. Releasing your right leg, taking a breath. You can rock your knees a little bit, bringing back some movement to your body, and then bend both knees. Place your feet to the floor, and let's come all the way down onto our back. Rolling down. And as you come down, stretch out through your body, interlace your fingers, stretch your toes forward, taking a big breath. And exhaling. Place your feet back to the ground and your palms alongside your body. We're just taking a little lift through the hips to release our lower back. Draw the navel center back, and we'll inhale, floating the hips up, rolling up along the spine for 3 breaths. And exhaling, rolling all the way back down. As you come down, you can bring your arms open into a T shape and rock your knees from side to side, turning your head in the opposite direction of your knees. And the next time that both knees drop over to the right, pause here. And bring your left knee in line with the bump at the front of your left hip. So you'll slide the thigh bone down the center of the mat and bring your heel a little bit closer towards the hip until you feel some opening through the top of the hip flexor, and down through the quadriceps towards the knee. Taking a few breaths here, opening into the front line of the body. And if you can add a little bit of weight, then you'll take your right heel on top of your thigh. You're going to place that above the knee joint so there's no pressure on the knee. And if this is too much, just bring the foot back down to the floor. And then take your left arm straight behind you and take a hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Feeling also a bit of release and compression through the lower back. Slowly sliding the heel off of the thigh and taking a few more breaths. Relaxing the top arm and gently stacking your left knee on top of the right, and then bring both knees back to center. Pausing here in resting pose. And both knees now drop over to the left, and we'll start to work into the right hip flexor. You can draw the thigh bone straight down the mat, knee in line with the hip, and the heel hugging a little bit closer towards the hip. Taking a few breaths here and just allowing the thigh bone to drop. And if you can add a little bit more intensity to the posture, then you're just bringing the left heel on top of the right thigh. And you might also stretch the right arm behind you, taking a hold of the wrist with the opposite palm. And you can also feel this stretch extending up through the abdomen, all the way through the chest and armpit and arm line. Releasing all contraction and tightness through the body and opening back up into expansion and lightness. Relaxing the heel off of the thigh. Relaxing your arm. And slowly stacking knee on top of knee. And bringing both knees back to center, feet to the floor. Taking a breath. Feeling the rib cage relax and both knees draw up towards the chest. Take a breath and let your knees drop open towards the armpits. And we'll make big circles with the knees, drawing the knees back towards each other. And open and around. And reversing the direction of the circle. Knees open and draw in towards each other. And then bringing your feet back to the ground. Extending both legs out in front of you. And take a breath here and squeeze through all of the muscles of the body. So you're going to squeeze through the glutes, making light fists. Squeezing through the arms and face. Taking a big breath. And then exhale and relax the muscles. Letting go of contraction. And closing your eyes. taking some time here in your resting posture to come back into yin and yang balance. And I hope this practice helped you today. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'd love to hear how this practice was for you in the comments. And until next time, namaste. For more yoga practices like these, please like this video, comment below, and share this video with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.